Hey, fifth grade. I am going to present to you the first article's answer key for the week. This week's skill is comparing and contrasting points of view. Basically, we're analyzing different accounts of the same topic because we know that who sees what's going on, who is experiencing it, is going to affect what they say about it and how they describe it. Well, I'm going to read you this article I'm sure you've read it at home, but I'm going to go ahead and read this a little bit because there's a couple things I want to call to your attention. So I want you to see that way back in the mid 1800s to early 1900s, coal was being mined. And just so you know, a lot of these kids, there were no labor laws. And so they had to go and work like a grown person. And they had to go down underground and they had to literally not go to school, not do anything but work. And if you had to go down in a coal mine, it affected your lungs, it affected your health, it affected everything. And you had to go down into these underground caves and literally work so you could produce coal because coal was a very important source of energy. It still is. And it's a natural resource, it's non renewable. So once it's gone, it's gone. So I'm going to go ahead first and I'm going to point out to the left. Remember, looking for opinion words to show feelings not everybody might agree with, and notice that some authors may agree on some things and may not agree on others. We're looking for the author's main focus. What is the author describing, and how does the author feel about the event? So, coal mining children. Coal mining was a common job for men and children in the United States, Europe, in the mid 1800s to early 1900s. Children in the mines worked long hours in dangerous conditions. They had little or no access to education. The following passages are accounts of girls who worked in coal mines in Great Britain. These accounts were in the 1842 report of the Children's Employment Commission. So this is Sarah Gooder. Guys, 8 years old. That's about second grade. And look at this photograph, a child working as a coal trapper. I can't even imagine what that must have been like. And this is real. This is nonfiction. I'm a trapper in the Gobber pit. It does not tire me, but I have to trap without a light and I'm scared. I go at 4 and sometimes 3:30 in the morning and come out at 5 and 5:30. I never go to sleep. Sometimes I sing when I've light, but not in the dark. I dare not sing, then I don't like to be in the pit. I'm very sleepy when I go sometimes in the morning. I go to Sunday schools and read Reading Made Easy. She knows her letters and can read little words. They teach me to pray. She repeated the Lord's Prayer not very perfectly and ran on with the following addition. God bless my father and mother and sister and brother, uncles and aunts and cousins and everybody else, and God bless me and make me a good servant. Amen. I would like to be at school far better than in the pit. As I read that, I'm having a text to self connection. I would much rather be at school than doing distance learning, to be honest with you. And I bet many of you feel that way. But could you imagine being in second grade and having to work in the dark and not being able to sleep and not really being able to do much? So that is from the point of view of an 8-year-old. Now, the next account is from a person named Mary Barrett, and she's 14 years old. So we're going to learn about how the difference in an 8-year-old to a 14-year-old. I have worked down in the pit 5 years. Father is working in next pit. I have 12 brothers and sisters. All of them but one live at home. They weave and wind and hurry, and one is a counter. One of them can read. None of the rest can or write. They never went to day school, but 3 of them go to Sunday school. I hurry for my brother John and come down at 7 o'clock about. I go up at 6, sometimes 7. I do not like working in pit, but I am obliged to get a living. I work always without stockings or shoes or trousers. I wear nothing but my chemise, and a chemise is kind of like a nightgown. I have to go up to the headings with the men. I was afraid at first and did not like it. They never behave rudely to me. I cannot read or write. And this is a point of view, an account by Patience Kershaw, age 17, May 15th. My father's been dead about a year. My mother is living and has 10 children, 5 lads and 5 lasses. A lad is a boy and a lass is a girl. The oldest is about 30, the youngest is 4. 3 lasses go to the mill. All the lads are colliers, 2 getters and 3 hurriers. 1 lives at home and does nothing. Mother does not but look after home. So what they're saying is mother doesn't do anything but look after home, so the kids all have to earn a living for the family because the father has died. All my sisters have been hurriers, but 3 went to the mill. Alice went because her legs swelled from hurrying in cold water and she was hot. When she was hot. I never went to day school. I go to Sunday school, but I cannot read or write. I go to Pitt at 5 o'clock in the morning and come out at 5 in the evening. I get my breakfast of porridge and milk first. I take my dinner with me, a cake, and eat it as I go. I do not stop or rest any time for the purpose. I get nothing else until I get home, and then have potatoes and meat. Not everyday meat. I hurry in the clothes I have now got on, trousers and ragged jacket. The bald place upon my head is made by thrusting the corves. My legs have never swelled, but my sisters did when they went to mill. I hurry the corves a mile and more, underground and back. They weigh 300 cwt. I hurry all day, 2 a day, I think. I wear a belt and chain at the workings to get the corves out. Sometimes they, the boys, beat me, if I'm not quick enough, with their hands. They strike me upon my back. I am the only girl in the pit. There are about 20 boys and 15 men. I would rather work in mill than in coal pit. So guys, I think that the alarming part about this is that it's real. It's actually something that in our history, children had to go through this. And we think about, now we know girls can do what boys can do, but honestly, these girls didn't want to have to go down in the pit and surrounded by all those other men. And it wasn't every child. If you had money, you wouldn't have had to do this job. So these were obviously working families who didn't have enough, resources. So they had to send their kids to work at the coal mine, which would absolutely be the dirtiest, filthiest, most awful job back then, especially if you're a kid. All right, now the second story, we're going to kind of compare the two. Those were children. This is Anne Eggles's testimony about coal mining. Anne Egglesy and her sister Elizabeth Egglesy, sorry, I keep saying Egglesy, I apologize, ages 18 and 16 were coal workers. They were hurriers, which were typically children or women who transported coal. See the illustration right here. The tunnels they traveled through were as small as 16 inches tall. Anne and Elizabeth were called to testify before Parliament as part of the investigations into the 1842 Factory Acts. So basically, eventually people saw this and were like, this is wrong, that no child should have to do this. All right, this is their account of their experience in the coal mines. We go at 4 in the morning and sometimes at 4:30. We begin to work as soon as we get down. We get out after 4, sometimes at 5 in the evening. We work the whole time except an hour for dinner, and sometimes we haven't time to eat. I hurry by myself and have done so for long. I know the corves are very heavy. They are the biggest corves anywhere about. The work is far too hard for me. The sweat runs off me all over sometimes. I am very tired at night. Sometimes when we get home at night we have not power to wash us, then we go to bed. Sometimes we fall asleep in the chair. Father said last night it was both a shame and a disgrace for girls to work as we do, but there was naught else for us to do. I've tried to get winding to do, but could not. I began to hurry when I was 7, and I have been hurrying ever since. I have been 2 years in the pit. The girls are always tired. I was poorly twice this winter. It was with headache. I hurry for Robert Wiggins. He is not akin to me. I riddle for him. We all riddle for them except the littlest when there is 2. We don't always get enough to eat and drink, but we get a good supper. I've known my father go at 2 in the morning to work when we worked at Twibell's, where there is a day hold to the pit, and he didn't come out till 4. I'm quite sure that we work constantly 12 hours except on Saturdays. We wear trousers in our shifts in the pit and great big shoes, clinkered and nailed. I never went to a day school. I went to a little Sunday school, but I soon gave it over. I thought it too bad to be confined both Sundays and weekdays. I walk about and get the fresh air on Sundays. I have not learnt to read. I don't know my letters. I've never learnt not. Not is nothing. I never go to church or chapel. There's no church or chapel at Gobber. There's none nearer than a mile. If I was married, I would not go to the pits, but I know some married women that do. So this is kind of a bummer, but I want to make sure you got from this article what you were supposed to get, because really you had to look at the 3 girls in the first article and the 2 girls in the second article, the sisters, and the one, this is Anne in particular, and their experience. So let's take a look at the answer key. It says, fill out the chart to show the main point of each child's testimony. Sarah Gooder, basically Sarah doesn't like working in the difficult conditions in the coal mines. Mary Barrett doesn't like working in coal mines, but she must work to earn money. Patience Kershaw doesn't like working in difficult conditions in the coal mines. And Anne works long hours in difficult conditions in coal mines. So really none of them like it, but Anne, it sounds to me, had been doing it for so many years, she's almost used to it. Doesn't mean you like it, but she's learned that she has to accept it because she's got to cope. She's got to survive. Which sentence from Patience Kershaw's account best shows her point of view on working in the coal mines? Well, the best choice for that is C, I would rather work in mill than in coal pit. Number 3, how is Sarah Gooder's account similar to Mary Barrett's? Well, basically, it is B, that both girls testify to how they are scared in the coal mines. Number 4, the table has sentences from Mary Barrett's testimony and Patience Kershaw's testimony. So basically, Mary says, I have to go up to the headings with the men. I was afraid at first and did not like it. They never behave rudely to me. And then Patience says sometimes the boys beat me if I'm not quick enough with their hands, and then they strike me upon my back. I am the only girl in the pit. There are about 20 boys and 15 men. So basically, if you looked at that, Mary's testimony is different because Mary claims the men did not treat her poorly or rudely. She says they never behaved rudely to me. But on the other hand, Patience says that the boys in the pits treat her poorly. She says sometimes they beat me and I'm not quick enough. So basically we have, 2 different accounts of it, and both of them are in the pits of despair. It's a terrible thing, but one of them at least gets treated well. And if you look back, Mary Barrett's 14, okay, and Anne Exley is 18, so she's a little older, but still they're similar in age, so I guess it's just the men that you work around in this job. So the 5th one, you had to write me a paragraph. How might a reader benefit from reading each of the 4 different accounts of children working in the mines? Basically, guys, why would it benefit you? Why would it be a good idea to read more than one account of the same thing? And again, we've talked about basically a reader would benefit from reading all 4 accounts because they all have similarities. So it's not like one person's claiming how awful it is and one person saying it was wonderful. They're all letting you know what a horrific job it is. And then all 4 testify they worked long, grueling hours doing difficult work. None of them went to school. Okay? And this kind of helps the reader understand that most likely children who worked in coal mines had similar conditions. But there are also some differences. Sarah describes being scared. She says, but I have to trap without a light and I'm scared. Mary and Patience describe how other family members worked in the pits. Anne gives a detailed account of her experience in the pits. I know the corves are very heavy. They are the biggest corves anywhere about. The work's far too hard for me. The sweat runs off me all over sometimes. Now, are these the absolute details you had to pick? No. But once you turn this in, I'll be able to look at your paragraphs. But basically, you have to show why it would be a good idea. How were they similar? But then how are their differences? So you're going to pull in, like this example paragraph. They all said this, but yet some of them said this different thing. So I hope this is helpful. I hope that you have been able to see. This is a longer one because it's 2 different passages, but I hope that this helps you with this lesson. Take care, guys. Until next time.